Brother A-saulted me with a burger in a drunken rage, and now my family expects me to forgive him without an apology. I, 26/yo female, have been in a relationship with my boyfriend, 27/yo male, for over 3 years. We have a great relationship and we have had bumps along the road, but truly he has been a great person in my life and treats me like a queen. My family always jokes that he spoils me, and it is kinda true lol. My brother, 32/yo male, and I used to be close even though he had always had issues with anger, alcohol, and any human emotions. I always looked up to my brother even though he has his demons, and though my family is known for its emotional blow-ups and strained relationships, I've always wanted family to be more important in our family. My brother also has some deep misogyny and issues with women after his first real relationship with a girl who was an actual demon spawn. We all warned him not to date her, but he did anyway, for about 2.5 years, and she destroyed his relationships with our family, himself, and women in general after lying, cheating, and giving him a STD. My brother loved my boyfriend when he first met him and even spoke with him privately and told him he was so happy his sister finally found a good guy and how he thought he was a really good dude. Granted, he was drunk, but it still meant something to me. My boyfriend is goofy and nerdy and kind of the antithesis of my brother, who has a fake macho bro personality. I started to notice my brother would get annoyed by my boyfriend trying to talk to him about normal shit like how's work going or how is back in your state. He lives in another state. It started to become really obvious, and my brother started acting like a total D to my boyfriend for just trying to talk at holidays, and my parents started to call him out on it. It went on for about 1.5 years. Finally, on Christmas Eve, we were all at my parents' house and my brother, who was very drunk, went up to my boyfriend and apologized. I was flabbergasted but stayed quiet to not chance anything. Things were okay after that for a while, and I thought we were starting to make really good progress. So, to the actual story, I was on the job hunt for over 1.5 years post-graduation with my business degree. I spent my days sending out application after application and was desperately trying to get out of my part-time bartending college gig. I kept a spreadsheet of every job I applied to so I could track my responses, companies I applied to, and areas I was applying in. A year from my graduation date, I stared at the spreadsheet of doom, and I had applied to over 400 jobs even though I gave up logging them a few months prior. I had used every resource possible, and I had jobs where I got to the 6th round interview with no offer. A majority of my work experience was working with horses. Yes, I am a horse girl, sorry not sorry. But I worked for Olympic riders, as a barn manager for an equine hospital, and a veterinary assistant for livestock and exotic vets. I was pre-vet before I switched to business. I had insanely valuable work experience that employers didn't care about because it is a niche industry with little outside knowledge. Basically, I had a mental breakdown and I felt useless for not being able to get any job with my degree. I told my family, and they were somewhat receptive. My dad was really the only one who saw me falling into a depression and tried to help. Finally, I got wind of a potential job from a girl I used to work with at a horse rehabilitation farm in college. It was a tack company that run by someone we knew in the industry, and it was a business manager position, and I went at it hard. I got the fucking job. I lost it and sobbed with relief that I was finally doing it, and it was truly a perfect opportunity for me. The job was about 5 hours from where I was living, so my boyfriend and I got an apartment and moved within a month of me accepting the position. He works remotely. We left the day before New Year's because we wanted to spend the holidays with our families, but my first day was January 1st, so we wanted time to get moved in and get settled before I started the new job, and he went back after his holiday break. We had a going away party with both of our families and our friends at my parents' house. A childhood family friend was there who had been very supportive in helping me find a job, and she is someone my brother used to always have a crush on and even tried making a move on while she was engaged to her now husband. This girl, I'll call her M, is amazing and truly one of the sweetest humans I have ever met, and my brother, who was quite drunk, was being extra friendly and flirty. Even though she was also super drunk, she flawlessly navigated my brother's advances and was enjoying time with everyone. Towards the end of the night, the parents started heading out and we all kept on drinking. Maybe a mistake, but it was a great send-off for my boyfriend and I. So, we finally all leave the bar, and my boyfriend is driving my brother and I because he wanted to stay sober to drive us. I am in the front passenger seat and my brother is in the back seat while my boyfriend is driving. We are all talking about the night and everyone we saw and talked to. My brother makes a comment about M and how she was flirting with him, and I laughed. I said, "Oh my god dude, no, she is just M and she's married, man, don't try that again." My brother got super defensive and angry, but we had just gotten drive-through food, so his drunk brain took over and immediately started grabbing at the food on the center console. I said, "Here's yours," and tossed him his burger that was fully wrapped and sealed towards his hands that were open waiting to catch it. It landed in his lap and my boyfriend asked us not to eat in the car because we were down the street from the house, so I put my food away. My brother started screaming at me for throwing his food. Mind you, I was very drunk, but I know I literally just tossed it to him in a normal way. I don't know how to describe it, but we were in a car and he was in the middle seat and I was fully turned around facing him unpacking the bag when I did it. I laughed it off and said, "Okay, my bad dude," because I thought it was a joke at first, and I faced forward again. He unwrapped the burger, leaned forward and grabbed my head and held it against the headrest while he mashed the burger all over my face. I screamed because what the hell, and my boyfriend started screaming too. My boyfriend is not confrontational and knows how violent my brother is, but he lost it and told him to never touch me like that again. He stopped after a few seconds and started cursing me from the back seat saying, "That should teach you a lesson, you effing b/tch." I was stunned and furious, and not using my better judgment given my inebriation for my celebration. I stared at him and asked him what the fuck was wrong with him, and I don't even remember the garbage he replied with because I took my large soda, popped the top off, and threw it directly onto him. I know. My poor boyfriend's car. I did help clean it later on and got it detailed. Absolute chaos erupted and I wasn't entirely surprised. I was pissed. I had mayo in my eyes and lettuce in my freaking ears. My brother leans forward and slams my head again against the headrest. This time he digs his nails into my eyes, and he doesn't let go. He is scratching and pulling me as hard as he can into the car seat while screaming, "You fucking w/e, you will never going to disrespect me again / you stupid c word, I'm going to f you up." I am screaming and trying to claw him off while my boyfriend slams on the brakes and pulls off the road and starts screaming at him and hitting him off me, but he wouldn't let go. Finally, he does, and my boyfriend asks him what the fuck is wrong with him and to get the fuck out of the car. Surprisingly he did, but he started kicking and punching the car while screaming more weird sexist bullshit at us. My boyfriend drives off quickly, leaving my brother on the side of the road and stops a few blocks down. I couldn't see because my eyes were bloody and scratched and I was hysterical. We went back to my parents' house, and I woke them up to tell that what happened. I was shouting and crying, and I had blood dripping down my eyes, and my parents were respectfully really confused. When they left, everything was fine and they knew he was drunk, but they couldn't understand what happened. I didn't, either. I told them I was done with him, and I was done trying to have a relationship with a psychopath. Finally, my brother showed up at the house and tried to fight my boyfriend. My dad held him back, and then my brother tried to fight my dad. One thing about my dad is he is in his mid-60s, however, he can fight. He dropped my brother to the ground. My brother went after my mom and I physically, and shit hit the fan until my dad had to physically drag him outside. I told my mother, "You have to kick him out. I cannot stay here knowing he's in the house." He threatened multiple times to damage my belongings and destroy my things that were packed in our garage for my move the next day. She let him stay in the house, and I had to barricade myself in my room with the door locked to keep him from getting to me until he just passed out. The next day I woke up with bruises and scratches on my face, and I had to go meet my boyfriend's family to pack all our stuff at his house into the moving van. Everyone saw me and asked what happened, and I couldn't even answer. My boyfriend and I moved into our new place, and what should have been a beautiful happy experience was just clouded by what happened. Every single person at our apartment's leasing office, the furniture stores we went to, and every gas station on the drive up gave me pity looks and angry looks at my boyfriend because I was walking around with a beaten face. My mom kicked out my brother the next day and made him stay with a friend until he flew back to his home state, and he sent texts to my mother and I telling us we were manipulative and deserved everything. My parents excommunicated him for a while, and my dad sent him a letter telling him to get his shit together and that he should be ashamed, but my brother still, he did nothing wrong. Fast forward, it has been about 3-5 months since I moved, and my parents told me they have been in contact with him, and they want to move forward. My mom told me I must forgive him and get to a point where we will be okay. I said no. I said hell no actually. This isn't the first time he has been violent with me and my mom. I told her I would not forgive him for this, and I was done trying to accommodate him and his issues. It's not worth it to me. I love my family even though they have their issues, everyone does, but I could not continue putting myself through this. Not to mention, my boyfriend was horrified. They suggested this to me and made it clear he would never forgive him. He made it clear that if we were ever at a family event, he wouldn't say or do anything towards my brother, but that's it. He literally is going to pretend he doesn't exist because he cannot even bring himself to look at him without getting angry, and I don't blame him. I don't know how my parents expect me to just blindly forgive him when he is continuously saying he is not sorry. I told my parents they are enabling him, and at this point he is 32, he either figures his shit out or he doesn't, but they didn't raise us to act and think like that, so it is up to him to change. So, I don't know. I am really sorry for this insanely long post, and if you made it this far, thank you. It felt really good to get all this out, and I just want to know I am not crazy for not wanting this person in my life anymore or questioning if I need to distance myself from my whole family at this point. I know I shouldn't have thrown the drink, but I still have scars on my face, and I cannot forget what happened. So, Ida for wanting to cut him off after all of this, or should I listen to my mom and leave it in the past? Update 1. Right off the bat, about 3 weeks ago I got a group text from my mom. She said something like family meeting this weekend, important to have everyone together to move forward. She made it sound like it was going to be about my granddad's estate, who passed in February, but I had a tickly spidey sense. My boyfriend flat out said absolutely not and steeled himself to brace me for whatever was about to be thrown my way. My parents ambushed us. We got there, my brother was sitting in the living room, already red-faced and almost buzzing, with my mom clutching a mug like it was an emotional life raft. They'd even asked my boyfriend's parents to come and help mediate, which was mortifying. The agenda, literal printout on the kitchen table, was, Step 1, letting go of the past. Step 2, looking ahead as a family. My brother's opening statement, yes, I am not kidding, They each took turns. He apologizes for making me feel bad, but alcohol and family stress push buttons, and we've all done ugly things. Then he said, I want to move forward. I forgive you for what you did with the soda. I literally started laughing, which, naturally, did not go over well. My parents and even my boyfriend's parents, they didn't know the full detail before this, looked shell-shocked. I just said, this isn't accountability. He isn't sorry, he's not even asking for forgiveness, he's demanding mine for something I didn't do. And then, truly out of character for me, I added, if you all want to move forward, go ahead. I'm not participating. My boundary, I won't be at any event where he is. If that's too hard for you, then I guess we have no relationship. My brother threw his chair, no exaggeration. He stormed out, yelling about how everyone in the family always sides against him. My mom started crying and my dad just sat there, white-knuckled, staring at his hands. Total silence, except my boyfriend finally said, we're done here. We left, and I haven't spoken to my brother or my mother since. My dad actually called later to apologize, and tell me you're right, I don't know how to fix any of this. It was the first time in my life he's ever said anything of the sort. The story could have ended there, same old dysfunction, but something unexpected happened. After a few weeks of radio silence, I got a long, very vulnerable Instagram DM from the old friend from the party, M, the one my brother tried to hit on. She said she'd heard about the incident from some mutuals who have seen my brother spiral in similar ways, and that she was sorry she hadn't realized how far gone he was. She also shared that her own brother went through a similar angry spiral before getting into treatment. We started talking, and, over a couple of Saturday brunches, and after plenty of horse memes, she's also a low-key barn rat at heart, she invited me to join her at a local siblings of addicts/violent relatives therapy group. I didn't think it would help, but, honest truth, it's probably the healthiest thing I've ever done for myself. Facing it with other people who get it, across professions and ages, is pretty mind-blowing. What's wild is, the group meets at a farm that also does animal-assisted therapy, and the first day, they had us in the ring with this stubborn, cranky old chestnut gelding named Sarge. He backed up every time you tried to approach, but if you just waited, he'd eventually let you stand with him. It was a lightning bolt moment, realizing how I keep walking up to my family, and my brother, expecting them to be different, and every time, I get kicked in the heart. Maybe it's time to just stop walking up. Weirdly, maybe because of all this, I threw myself into work, and it's paying off way more than I could have imagined back in my postgrad nightmare. The company owner is retiring early, he literally won the lottery, I kid you not, and after 2 months of rigmarole, offered me a partner role if I could come up with a growth plan for next year. I spent 3 weekends making mock-ups, running projections, and pulling every resource from my horse past. And next quarter I'll be project lead on a line we're launching internationally. It's wild, sometimes when whole parts of your life break, others magically fill in. My boyfriend is thriving too, he started gaming with local friends and is talking about proposing. I told him I'd only say yes if he promised never to let me eat burritos in his car again. We're talking about fostering senior dogs next year. The last update fluttered in last week. My dad is in solo therapy. He called me, not to guilt trip or cajole, but just to ask, can we go for a walk sometime? Just us. We did, and he cried a little and admitted their whole world revolved around keeping your brother from exploding, and it bled into all of us. He said, I wish I'd protected you more. I said, protect me now, by not asking me to pretend. For the first time, I think he actually heard me. I don't know if I'll ever talk to my brother again. He keeps texting my mom random rants about how everyone abandoned him. Oddly, the new apartment feels like another universe. Some days I wake up happy the past happened, like it's a rotten tooth finally pulled out. Most days, I'm just grateful to be safe, with someone who wants me to be happy, not afraid. I guess I thought nothing crazier could happen, but maybe the real insanity is, I'm learning to let go of the hope that my family will change. Turns out, I get to grow as much as I want, with or without them. So that's what's new. I might never eat burgers or ride in the backseat of a car with family again, but I've got a new barn crew and, some days, a little less hurt. Thanks, internet peeps. If wildness happens, I promise to come back. Update 2. Oh my god, you beautiful, resilient internet strangers, buckle up, I promised I'd come back if something crazy happened, and who boy, let's just say the universe delivered, and then some. I'm typing this half in disbelief, so bear with the late night typos. And thank you for every DM and weird horse pun meme. I genuinely think this corner of the internet could start a cult, the positive kind, with snacks. Let me start with the wildest twist. My brother showed up. In person. In my city. Uninvited, unannounced, and with exactly zero warning. I was at work, already running late for a Zoom call, when the front desk at our building called up, all cheery, and said someone from my family was in the lobby. Nausea. The kind that sprints up your spine to your scalp. I texted my boyfriend, who called me instantly and said, whatever you do, don't go down there alone. I'll be back in 20, just stall. He now works at a co-working space a block away, so points for fate. I finally go down, heart in my mouth, and there's my brother, standing in a polo shirt that might have once fit, a duffel at his feet, eyes red as a 7 a.m. hangover. He had not been drinking, at least as far as I could tell, but the energy was. Tidal wave meets blackout. The lobby lady gave me the polite bad boyfriend or stalker ex. Look, and I just smiled and did that awkward hi, what are you doing here? Voice that echoes from my trauma childhood. He said nothing for a minute. Then, he started sobbing. Sobbed. In public. Actual shoulder heaving, breathless gasps, knuckles white around the duffel. He just said, I don't know what to do anymore, I have nowhere to go. My first instinct was panic, but not for my safety, for his. Not in a forgiving way, but in a human in front of me as in deep, unmasked misery way. All my therapist group training in animal neurosis wrangling got activated. Quick snapshot, I asked him to come sit outside, in front of cameras, with public around. Boyfriend arrived 5 minutes later. Love this man, he did not break stride, just sat beside me, staring at my brother like a bouncer waiting to be needed. My brother finally spit it out, he'd been fired, again. He admits, voluntarily, that he missed shifts, fought with his boss, blew up. Then his landlord locked him out because he lost it in a drunken rage and got cops called after pounding on neighbors' doors. I'm out of money, out of friends, who would want to talk to me? His words, not mine. He says living with himself is like screaming at a wall, and he started thinking bad thoughts. He said he didn't want to die, but he can't go back to that apartment, or those bars, or the way he's been. My literal first thought was, no, I will not be your landing pad, I will not let you trauma bomb my new life. Instead, I offered him a list of shelters, addiction resources, and the name of my own therapist group. Honestly, it was both the coldest and the kindest I could manage. I told him there was a group for siblings of people like him, and maybe, just maybe, if he did the work, in a year, we'd grab coffee. But only after I saw, and believed, real change. He listened. He cried more. He asked if he could shower. My boyfriend talked with building management, again, 10/10 man, will bake him cookies for life, and arranged for my brother to clean up in the gym bathroom, with a security guy posted nearby. My brother left with only the vaguest hug, more a shoulder tap, if I'm honest. He texted the next day, he found a city-run men's shelter and went to intake for AA and anger management. I told him, bluntly, that until I saw progress, in writing, from a real counselor, there would be no door open, no phone calls, no family events with me present. My boundaries were granite, not negotiable. He wrote, I know I ruined everything. I'm going to try. If I'm alive in 6 months, maybe I'll call. Here's where it somehow gets even more bananas. Someone from my group therapy, let's call her Jess, recognized my brother at the intake center. Her cousin volunteers there. She DM'd me the next day and said, he looked like he was on day one of hell, but he was signing up for a sponsorship buddy. No idea if he'll stick with it, but hearing that third hand is the universe sending me a cosmic sign. I can detach, and it doesn't mean I don't care. It means I finally care about myself more. Meanwhile, my parents went through absolute emotional nuclear meltdown. Mom left voicemails weeping, saying you're heartless. He's your brother, how could you? Dad's therapy is working, though. He called me, backed me up, said he would only offer brother help if it was for sobriety and not a couch. Progress, and then, yes, there's more. The past week I got a literal letter, not a text, not an email, from my uncle, who cut off our family years ago. He said he heard through the family grapevine that things are finally breaking open, and he wanted to say he's proud of me for ending the cycle. He shared, get this, a 5-page confession of all the crap my dad and his siblings lived through growing up. It knocked the wind out of me. It explained everything about why my family orbits one person's rages instead of each other's needs. It's all old bones, but somehow it made me feel seen, like I'm not just bucking the family tradition. I'm healing backward, too. Work-wise, my project lead role is a juggernaut and a half. Horses, meet e-commerce. International logistics has more drama than a Kentucky Derby after-party. Let me tell you, my boyfriend made us a spreadsheet to track brave moments. Each week we had something that would have terrified us in our old lives. Mine this month, confronting my family's cycle, saying no in person, and not feeling like I have to mop up anyone's disaster but my own. We actually threw a taco party for my found family, M from therapy, the Barn Girls, Jess, boyfriend's gamer crew. It was the warmest, most riotous Friday night. I realized halfway through, not a single soul in my apartment thought I was too much, or too hard, or not enough. They just let me belong. So, here's the scary, honest truth. My brother finally hit such bottom that not even family could rescue him, and the world didn't end. In fact, my circle got bigger, not smaller. My parents' marriage might finally be forced to grow up, or break apart, but that's not my circus, not anymore. Some roots need exposure to sunlight before the rot can be cut away. I say this with all the hard-won hope I've got. If this is the crazy new chapter, I'll take it. Life's wilder, harder, braver, and honestly, finally mine. Update 3. Alright, Reddit, I said I'd return if wildness came knocking, and no one, literally no one, warned me that the universe would just moonwalk in with flaming clown shoes. But here we are, and strap in, because I think this officially enters wait, did this really happen? Territory. Let's start where things combusted, my brother going nuclear in my city. After he'd vanished to the shelter, I didn't hear a single word for over a month. Tumbleweeds. My mom left rambling voicemails, don't you wonder how he is? Maybe he's changed. My dad sent the odd check-in text to report on his own therapy. Yes, he found a decent guy, Bob, who apparently looks like a cross between Santa and a pro wrestler, and even started volunteering. For the first time in years, I was breathing normal, sleeping through the night, and not flinching at every unknown number. It was good. I settled fast into the rhythm of my work, doing two people's jobs but actually loving it, and found out our international launch was a mad, galloping success. Horses on 4 continents, y'all. I helped run an auction in New Zealand from my bathtub in pajamas. Sometimes, adulthood surprises you. Enter the next big shockwave. One morning, about 3 weeks ago, I opened my front door and froze. A small cardboard box on the mat, addressed in thick, blocky handwriting I instantly recognized. Against my better judgment, I opened it, half convinced it'd contain dry ramen and the world's worst apology. Instead, a battered, spiral-bound notebook, a St. Christopher medal I'd given my brother when I was 12, a handful of old family Polaroids of the two of us, covered in horse dirt, sticking our tongues out at a pony named Sugarfoot. And a letter. He wrote that he'd started sobriety cold, sick, hateful. That his AA sponsor, a guy named Vince who trained dogs before humans, dragged him to every grimy step meeting in the county. That he'd finally agreed to anger therapy, and, in his words, it's like sticking my fingers in a socket, but I can tell I'm not the only person on fire anymore. He was raw. Honest, almost. There was even a line acknowledging, by name, that my violence to you was the worst sin I ever made. I doubt I get forgiven. But I want to write it down. I did it. It was me. It was wrong. I'm not asking you to fix me. And, buried halfway in, he wrote, I heard you're happy. I hope you stay that way, even if it means never seeing me again. I read the letter about 6 times, with every possible emotion. I showed it to my boyfriend, who, after a long silence, said, I'll never trust him, but if you want to keep reading, I'll be right here. Cue the tears. Just as I was processing this, my mom called, sniffling, but this time with the faintest gasp of hope. She'd started attending Al-Anon herself. Your dad made me, and for the first time, she didn't beg or guilt trip. She asked if we could just meet, no brother, no drama, just her, to talk. Given the new vibes, I said yes. I took Em with me, for moral support. We met at this haunted little tea house in the city, next to a bakery that sells emotional support cookies, message iced on top. I got one that just said you're doing okay. My mom looked different. Unsteady, yes, but also lighter. She apologized for every voicemail, for asking the world of me, and giving so little when it came to my needs. She told me she didn't know how to navigate having a family volcano for a son, didn't realize she'd asked me to build my life around not making him erupt. She even thanked Em for taking care of you when I couldn't. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel like a kid talking to her. I felt like the adult who got out alive. I told her what I tell my therapy group, boundaries aren't punishments, they're life vests. She asked if we could try getting to know each other outside the echo chamber of our family mess. I asked her what she wanted to know, about my life, my boyfriend, my job. She asked to meet our barn crew, see my new company, maybe even try riding again. She hasn't gotten on a horse in 30 years and was always convinced Sugarfoot wanted her dead. So, she came to the barn. She mucked stalls with me and Em, she got gently headbutted by a geriatric goat, and she even let our oldest therapy pony nuzzle her hand, trembling but laughing. I can't believe I'm saying this, it felt like starting over, like building family from the ground up, awkward and hilariously, undignified but real. We haven't solved everything. She still calls too many times a week, and I still keep my guard up. But she's trying in a way I've never seen before. Meanwhile, my dad? He attended family week at his therapy group, and afterward, emailed me a 5-page list of things I wish I could do over. Sample item, protect you from everyone, especially when the attacker was my own kid, and believe you faster next time. Sob, he also started hiking with me every other Sunday. Sometimes we talk about horses, sometimes about nothing at all. Sometimes it's just about what's blooming in the park. And yes, he asked to try therapy riding, too. Spoiler, he lasted 30 seconds on the pony before declaring he preferred his feet hard on the dirt. Thank you. As for my brother, he's still at the shelter, working day labor jobs. The rest of his original family has fully cut him off. But, and here's the miracle, or maybe just the hard truth, he hasn't relapsed since that day at my building. He texts my mom weekly progress, never me, as per boundary, sometimes shares bits of AA slogans. He wrote to me again, a letter that I'm not sure I'll answer, that he understands why I might never speak to him, that he's starting to feel feelings he can't name, and that he wants to use his volcano energy to build something instead. And wildest of all, that siblings therapy group? Em and I started helping run new member sessions, and one of the new faces last week introduced herself as Vince's dog training daughter, the man who's sponsoring my brother. She brought treats for all the therapy horses. The universe has wild loops, Work has become a happier chaos. We've expanded to a second warehouse, and the owner is actually talking early retirement for real, offering me more equity. My boyfriend and I, braver, sometimes a little anxious, always in it together, are ring shopping. Not for Instagram, not for parents, but for us. We adopted a wobble-legged, ancient mutt from the barn farm, and now have a 3-member breakfast club in our apartment every morning, boyfriend, dog, and usually an unbothered pigeon on the balcony. And because Reddit demands receipts, I haven't forgiven my brother, or even myself for enabling so long, but I have released myself from the need to parent anyone but me. My boundaries don't make me cruel. They make me safe. They let other people start their own hard climb up. So, here we are. I don't know if my brother will make it. I don't know if he even knows who he is without blowing up at the world. But I know who I am. I'm done handing out forgiveness passes, especially to people who only want a do-over instead of real change. If he does change? Maybe later we'll build something honest. If not, I've got a found family at my back, a whole herd of sarcastic barn friends, co-workers who believe in me, and a man who, when faced with my old ghosts, stands next to me every time. So internet, thank you, sincerely, for bearing witness, guiding me through the dark, making me laugh while I rebuilt the floor. If the universe blows up again, you'll be the first to know. Between barn chores, adoption paperwork, and, maybe, just maybe, cake tastings for a very low-key wedding where no one throws anything, except some hay for the goats. I promise, the wildness continues, but for the first time ever, it feels like my kind of wild.